Hello guys, what is up? So another video, we're doing a full wave review of the Spider-Man retro carded wave. And you might be thinking, classic collector, it's not a full wave. And yes, that is true. I am missing Hollow's Eve, but I do not want her, and I don't really need her either. So it's a half. It's a pretty much full wave review. So we're going to take a look at all these figures in depth and all their accessories. I do have a pile of accessories over here, and I dropped something. So yeah, we're going to get into all that today. And first off, who do I want to start with? Let's start with Spider-Shot. Okay, so taking a look at Spider-Shot. And also, I know this wave has been out for a little while now, and everybody's done a review on it, but I don't care. This is my review. So yeah, also, I know I also have not done a lot of reviews lately. I think my last one was like over a month ago, and it was like the Deadpool review, which, if you haven't checked that one, go check that out. But, so yeah, Spider-Shot. Overall, this is a pretty good figure. Honestly, I think it's kind of cool. Really, it's got a new head, so I really do like the eyes on this one, the lenses. And I do like the head sculpt overall. And then the rest of the details are pretty much painted on, except for the belt. So he does have some new pouches on the belt. And this is reusing the body mold from the retro carded Spider-Man, but with I think this is the Sunfire body mold legs, but they're pinless now. And then it might be the Sunfire body mold arms as well, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so all the details pretty much painted on. You have the spider. You could see mine has a little bit of a chipping there. This was actually the first figure in the wave that I got. I remember I found him at Target, and it's actually on one of my toy hunts. I found him at Target, in like the Lego aisle. Someone was trying to hide him, but I did get him. Probably made someone mad that day. But pretty much he's got the red paint over it, and then the legs are all dark black, molded in that color. Do have little tugs on his butt cheeks. And then the spider on the back is pretty clean. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. He does have, I'm going to go over the articulation briefly for each figure. So he does have the dumbbell joint with the hole in the back of his neck. So he can get that far up, which honestly, it doesn't even have that big of a gap. And that is, well, from the front, it's not that great looking. But from the side view, from the back, can't really notice anything. Honestly, I'd say that's a pretty good up. Not the best up, though, but still fairly good. Down that way, he does get some pivot because it's on the dumbbell joint. Not the greatest pivot, though. And then all the way around, it does have the butterfly joints. Those do get pretty good range right there, as you can see. And the backwards as well. Actually, the backwards is really good. And then, obviously, this is using the retro carded body mold, like I said previously. And then he does have the double jointed pinless arms, bicep swivel, hand movement. He does have the upper diaphragm joint and lower ab crunch, so you get that far, which is pretty good range. And then that far back, which is really good range. And then he does have drop down hips. Now here's one of people's main criticisms with this figure, is the hips, because they had the hips already ready, which is like the Renew Your Vows legs. They could have just used those. Why they chose the Sunfire body mold legs, honestly, I don't know why they did that when they had the Renew Your Vows legs and arms, which they did use in this wave over here. He does not have toe joints, as you can see, but it's not the Renew Your Vows body mold legs, even though they could have used it. So since they didn't do that, he has this huge gap in between his legs, which, not the greatest. He does have drop-down hips, but they don't really change much in terms of the gap. But, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't really bother me. You can see the legs kind of sticking out of the butt as well. Like, you can tell that it's pretty bad. But, honestly, it doesn't really bother me because it's black and it's a black hole. So, it's not very noticeable, so yeah. And then he does have the thigh cut, double jointed, pinless legs, boot cut, and then ankle rotation and all that jazz. So that is Spider-Shot. now let's take a look at his accessories. So taking a look at his accessories, he does come with, first off, let's go over the hands. So he does come with these hands, which are, if you don't know who Spider-Shot in the comics, it's like an assassin Spider-Man, and he works with Wolverine and he kills people and stuff like that. And he comes with these two hands, which is basically how he shoots his like guns. He's got like wrist blasters, and that's how he kills people. And then, which is one cool thing, is you can see the hole in there inside of his like thumb. And what you can do is you could take these two little blast effects, and he does come with two, and you could see one side is like notched, and you can see that it does clip. Let's do it on this hand. It does clip into the hand, not clip, but pegs into the hand, and that way you can have it look like he's shooting. And this is like stance that he does in comics, so that's what I usually have him looking like on my Spider-Man shelf. So yeah, you can have him like shooting outwards, which that looks really good, and I really like that. And then you can't take them out, and he does come with two of those hands. So yeah, that is really cool that they included these new hands, and the blast effects that go in them. When you do put them in, though, it does kind of shoot a little bit outwards and not straight, so you could just like twist the hand that way and then shoot it straight. I know that does bug some people. It doesn't bother me too much though. And then in terms of other hands, he does come with two fists. So he comes with two fisted hands, which that's good. You need Spider-Man to punch. And then he comes with two webbed hands. So yeah, two web hands, and honestly, that is a pretty good amount of hands. It would have been nice to have wall crawlers, but overall, that is a pretty good amount of accessories in total. So I just dropped a hand, but overall, yeah, that is some good. That's pretty good accessory count, and honestly, I'm happy with it. I think he came with everything that he needed. So next, we're gonna take a look at Spider-Shot. So let's, not Spider-Shot, this is Spider-Shot. Last Stand Spider-Man. Okay, so taking a look at Last Stand Spider-Man, this figure is a pretty cool figure. So starting off with the head sculpt, this is a new head sculpt, and this is based off the comics where it's like an older version of Peter Parker, and he's like running from the cops. At least that's like the most remembered thing that I can think of. And he like runs from the cops, and this is his last stand, and that's why they call him Last Stand Spider-Man. And this version of the costume is from the comics, but I think they pulled this like figure, like they based it more off of the game version, the PS4 game or PS5 game. I can't remember which one it is, or if it's Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1, but I think it's Spider-Man 1, but he was in the game, and they had the costume, this version of the costume in the game, and this is where, like, they pulled most of it from, but it is still based off of the comics, but you can see that it's got, like, a lot of panel lining, as you can see on the head, and I don't think it has that in the comics. So, yeah, that is a pretty good, cool head sculpt, though. I really do like it, and then he does have the neck. Still has some panel joints as well. I think I had the neck mixed around. I don't know. But, yeah, I did. But, he does have the collar. So, this torso piece is completely new. This jacket piece, which this is a really cool sculpt. I really like that they did sculpt all of it. And, I think it looks really nice. The detail is raised, so you have the spider emblem raised on there, and then on the back as well, it's also raised. And then these arms are reused from the Jimmy Woo figure, which I actually do have here. Give me a second. Alright, so I do have the arms right here, actually. I had another head on it for stop motion, but, so, yeah. This, you can see, it's got the same panel lining, it's just red. It is a reuse of the arms, so honestly, I'm fine with the reuse. One thing, though, that isn't the greatest about the Jimmy Woo figure is that the arms never really raised all that high, and you can see that carried over into this figure as well, so that kind of sucks, but nothing too bad. And then, so yeah, those arms are reused, but the hands are new, and you can see they got new sculpts on them. And then, moving on to the legs, it is just all black legs. but these legs are reused from the 2022 Hawkeye figure from the Infinity Ultron wave. So yeah, these legs are reused, but honestly, it's a good reuse, and I think these legs are good for just like straight jeans. And see, got the pocket sculpt on the back, and then you can see the shoes. So yeah, pretty good sculpt. So now let's get into articulation, since this one is a bit different for head articulation, and he does have a dumbbell at the bottom of the neck, and then a dumbbell at the top of the bottom of the head as well. So getting up, not the greatest. Down's actually really good, actually. I'll give it that. Down is good. He does get some nice pivoting side to side, I think better than Spider Shot. And then he does get his head to rotate all the way around, which I think I just twisted the neck again. No, I got it. All right. And then moving on into the shoulders, again, they don't raise up 90 degrees. It's just like below 90. And then he just has the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, pinless, which is good. And then he does not have the traditional like ab crunch and T-swivel, or the lower ab crunch and diaphragm joint like other Marvel Legends have. He has like the kind of Luke Cage style, or the Model 1 style, where it's like a dumbbell joint at the bottom of the waist. So yeah, he has that style articulation joint. So going forwards, it's not that bad. And I just dropped Ben Riley. It's not, and I'm dropping everybody. It's not that bad, but it's not that great either. Going back, not that great either. It's kind of like a DC Multiverse. He does get some nice side-to-side pivoting, and then all the way around. And then no waist swivel, because you have that. And then he does have the legs, thigh swivel, double jointed, pinless knees, which is nice. And then the ankle rotation and all that. So yeah, it's articulated well, but the arms raising upwards, not the full way round, does hinder it, and the torso isn't the greatest either. And then in terms for accessories, he is, wow, I'm dropping everything. He doesn't have the greatest accessories either. I just want to fix this really quickly. Let's see, can I get Jack-o'-lantern to stand? Come on, Jacko. Yes, and then get Spiderman to stand. Oh, tombstone don't fall. You know, we're just going to lay you there, Ben Riley. So in terms of accessories, he does have two open grabby hands, which are pretty cool. They're a cool sculpt. I think they are unique to this figure as well. So yeah, I like those. Black on the inside, red on the out. And then he does have two fisticuffs as well. And those do also have the black paint, which is nice. So, but that's it for accessories. Just two extra hands. That is really, really lousy, Hasbro. That sucks. In the comics, I don't actually know if he does shoot webs, which I don't know, because he doesn't come with any web hands, and I don't know if he does shoot webs in the comics. I'll have to do my research, but he does not come with that, which it would have been nice to come with that. But that's it for accessories, which that does kind of suck, and that is it for Last Stand Spider-Man. So now we're gonna take a look at, let's take a look at Jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so taking a look at Jack-o'-lantern, let's get him off his hovercraft and stand him up. Take that out of his hand, and we'll just put it there for now. So yeah, so this is Jack-o'-lantern. So this figure is awesome. I got this at a Books A Million when I did the first Books A Million toy hunt. Go check that out on the channel. I think that has like 100 views, so thank you all so much for watching that. But yeah, go check that out on the channel. I think that was a pretty good toy hunt. They had a lot of stuff there. I'm surprised that Books A Million had that, but I did get this figure there for like, originally it was $35, but then I had a bunch of discounts and it went down to 25. So I got it for a normal price, which is great. So starting off the head sculpt, this head is absolutely amazing. You have the dry brushing on the pumpkin head, and that just looks absolutely incredible. And then underneath it, you have the eyes and the the mouth there's a separate piece underneath it, and then you have the stem for the pumpkin sticking out, and it's brown, and then you have the you have the what's it called? Flame effect. So this is also a separate piece, but I think it's glued on. Take it off. Yeah, it's a separate piece, but they're glued together. And then this looks just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, this is amazing head sculpt. And then, as you can see, the scarf, he does have a scarf that is also a separate piece, and he has a dumbbell joint at the top of the head. So, click that back on, and we're ready to rock and roll. So yeah, and then moving on into the torso, this is using, this torso is actually all new sculpt, so that is great. The torso is an all new sculpt with chainmail, and he does have the butterfly joints integrated in that as well, which is amazing. And he does have a new belt piece, which all these pumpkin bombs are on, and we'll get into more of that into accessories, but this one is the only one that comes off. Everything else is glued on and is sculpted on, not coming out. And then on the hands, he does have these, I think these are new glove pieces, which they do look nice. They have a nice texture to them, and I really like the hands as well. And for all the hands that he comes with, even the fists as well, they do have like the stitch work and stuff, so that is really nice. They're new hands. And then other than that, the arms is the new Vulcan body, and the legs is the Vulcan body with these boot pieces. And I don't know if these boots are new or not. They might be reused from a Captain America figure or not, but I'm not sure. But they do look good on the figure, and they fit the figure. And yeah, this figure is just absolutely incredible. So getting into articulation, the head, again, on a dumbbell joint, gets up that high, so honestly, it doesn't really go up, but that's because of the flame piece. You can't really blame them. And then going down, not that bad, but you can get into, like, a menacing look. Look at that. Like, let's get his pumpkin bomb in his hand, and then have him, like, staring you down, like, knowing, like, he knows he's gonna hit you with a pumpkin bomb. That looks awesome. So, yeah, he does have that, and then the head articulate, and then with the butterfly joints, he can't get that far range. They're not the best butterfly joints in the world, but they are overall pretty good. And then he does have the arm articulation, bicep swivel, double jointed pinless arms, again, the Vulcan, and then the hands. And then again, in the torso, I don't know why I skipped this part, he does get that far down, which is pretty good, and then that far back, which is pretty good. It's not the best. It's not as good as, like, the other joint, this joint here, which I do prefer that joint more, but it's not the worst. Right, he's standing for now. And then he does have the waist swivel as well. He does have the hip joint, thigh swivel, double jointed pinless elbows, not elbows, knees, I don't know what I'm talking about, boot swivel, and then all the ankle articulation, which these two are great for getting him into poses on the accessory. So he does come with some accessories as well, so let's get into that. Let's just stand him up. You saw this earlier in the video. He does come with his hovercraft that he uses in the comics. And it does have, it is in the marbleized plastic, same thing as like I keep pulling this guy out, the Iron Man. Actually, this one's a bit more shiny, but overall it is basically the same, but not quite. But yeah, that is the figure, and then, the pogo stand. It does have a circle, and then two peg joints for him to stand on, and then on the bottom, you can see it has all those, like, the turbine and stuff, and then all the rivets. And then it does have this piece, which this piece can come off pretty easily, and it just pegs back in. But this is a ball joint meant for the stand that's included with, like, the Demo Goblin Build-A-Figure wave. And then also the Sky Cycle with Hawkeye. It came with, like, one of those stands, which I don't have right now available to take off the shelf. It also came with the Green Goblin figure from the No Way Home wave. So yeah, he does come with that. So he does not include the stand, which kind of sucks. But if you wanted this to have him flying, there is stands available to fit this. But yeah, so you can't just have him like that. And this, he goes really good on the pogo stick as well. This has been the longest review section so far, looking at the time. But he does go on the hovercraft really well, so it just pegs in, and since it's pretty light, you could hold him by the figure and then the stand won't fall off. But yeah, so you can hold the figure up and then the stand won't fall off, and that works really well. You can get him into a throwing pose. And then for hands, he does have this like throwing splayed out hand, and then he does have the gripping hand, which is for him to hold his pumpkin bomb. It's just a round circle, which that kind of sucks. It does have a peg in it for a very cool feature. You can plug it into the belt, which is really cool, and it stays on there really well. Same with the hovercraft as well. Like, I'm shaking it, it stays on there. And then you could take that off and put it into his hand, and I don't know how Hasbro does it, but it just fits in his hand so well. And then again, you could take it out and then put it onto the belt. And then for the rest of the accessories, he does come with 2 fisted hands. And again, the stitch work on him and the sculpt work is very nice. So yeah, that is the Jack-o'-lantern figure. This figure is awesome. I really do like it. And you can get him into some very cool, like, crouched up poses on the glider, which I can't really do right now. But you can get him into some really cool poses. The head articulation could have been better, but other than that, this is a great figure. So now let's move on into Tombstone. And next up, looking at Tombstone here, this figure is awesome as well. Pretty much all the figures in this wave are pretty good. Don't have Hollow Z though. But this is a pretty good Spider-Man wave, in my opinion. But moving on into the head sculpt, first of all, this is an absolutely amazing head sculpt. I think this is incredible. The hair is a separate piece glued on top. It's got the flat top. The eyes, just look at the eyes, man. That looks so menacing. And then the sharp teeth, you can see the razor sharp teeth, which also look menacing. I do have a little red splotch paint on mine, but I've had these figures for a little while now, so it makes sense. And then the torso, this actually the whole figure is an all new sculpt, which is incredible. So, yeah, that is great. And then you can see he has the torso underneath and the tie, and then he has this jacket over it. And I like how, like, scrunched up it feels. Like, it feels like there's really a figure in there. And I really like that. Like, there's really a guy in there, and it's being scrunched over his waist. And I really do like that. It looks realistic. And then he does have the little, like, handkerchief right there in his suit pocket. And then he does have the arms look really good as well. You can see he's got the buttons on his cuff right there, and then you can see the shirt, again, the blue pinstriped shirt sticking out, which that looks great on both sides. He's got the buttons there, more pockets on the suit, and then the suit legs look really good as well. Got the line down there, down the side, and then he does have these shoes, which are really cool. And peeking out of the shoes, you could see the sock right there. They did sculpt the sock, which is really cool because honestly, you wouldn't even be able to see it. But that is cool that they did sculpt that there. But, yeah, and then you can see you got the laces on the dress shoes. They're glossy. So that is a glossy plastic over the matte black plastic used for the suit. I really do like it. You can see the tie is a separate piece. You can kind of finagle it around. And if I lift up, this whole, like, jacket piece is a separate piece over the torso. So really, I don't even know what type of articulation you've got in there. But, yeah. Head sculpt is absolutely amazing. The collar, again. And so let's get into articulation. So this is different with this figure. I forgot what they used this on, but they did it before with another figure. I know they've done it with, McFarlane has done it as well, but they did it a little bit differently. But anyways, he has a ball joint at the base of the neck. So basically, it just kind of like goes in there, and it's a pretty tight fit, which is nice. And then you can move it all around. It doesn't actually have the greatest range though. So up, pretty much non-existent, and then down, not that great either. So that sucks. And he does not have tilt either, but you can get him all the way around. So honestly, I don't know why they did that type of articulation, because you don't get a lot of range, which sucks for this figure. But that pretty much is the biggest flaw in terms of articulation. The torso, he does not have butterfly joints, but you can get the torso down that far. So I don't actually know what he has in there. It might be like the waist ball joint like Last Stand Spider-Man, or it might be like the ab crunch like Jack-o'-lantern, or maybe even the ab crunch like the Rudy Rat's body. But I'm not sure. It does get like that far down, but it does like to go back up afterwards, and then that far back. So not very great. He does have waist swivel in there. Honestly, he does pivot as well. So I think it's probably a ball joint like the Last Stand Spider-Man, because he does pivot. And yeah, that's fairly good range. And then he does have the legs, or sorry, I skipped the arms. The arms go up that far. Pretty good range, bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. This figure is all pinless, which is great. He gets great range. And then the hand articulation. And then moving on into the legs, he does get that far up, which is really good though. So the suit doesn't really get in the way. And then he does have the thigh swivel, double jointed pinless knees again. Did I say knees for this, or did I say elbows? I'm not sure. But he does have the ankle articulation, which I don't want to break mine, but he doesn't get the best range off of like what I'm doing. He does have a swivel in there though, so it does swivel, like the ankle joint in the like when it meets the legs, like the sock, it actually swivels. So yeah, that is pretty cool. So that they did that. And then yeah, so that's articulation for the figure. Now let's get into the accessories. So on the figure, you can see he has this open grabby hand, which is really cool hand. I really like this hand. And then he has a trigger finger hand, and that is to hold the accessory that he comes with, which is a crowbar. God, this episode is filled with falling figures. But this is a pretty cool crowbar. I do wish it was a bit thicker though. Like if I take another figure, it does work with them fairly well, but well, actually no, it doesn't. Like the normal grabby hands or the suited figures, it's loose. So honestly, I really do wish they made this crowbar, they made the crowbar accessory a bit more thicker, kind of like what McFarlane did with their crowbar that came with like Joker and Red Hood. But you could see me struggling here with all this. Wowzers. Okay, but it does fit into the hand, and he has a pretty tight grip. So it's not that loose for him per se, but it will get loose. Like if you put another accessory in his hand, which does not come with, but yeah. He does have the trigger finger hand though. So if you do have a gun, you could give it to him. This is just a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes gun. But you can give it to him and then have him wielding a gun, which I do most of the time. And I think that is a pretty cool look, having him with the gun. And I really do like that. So, yeah. But you can take it out and then put it in the crowbar. And then, other than that, he does come with 2 fisted hands, which is great. You gotta have Tombstone smashing some stuff. And, yeah, I think that looks really good. And then, again, you can swap out the hands. Wrong hand. And then it just simple peg in, and it looks nice. And then for the last accessory, which is another great one, he comes with another head sculpt, and this is also using the digital face print, and this just looks amazing as well. I don't really know the expression they're going with, but it looks good nonetheless. And you can see this one shows off the more razor sharp teeth other than this one, so you can pop this head off. It does a nice pop, and then pop this one in, and that is nice as well. And then you can have him reaching out for Spider-Man or something. But that is a really good head sculpt. So that is pretty much it for Tombstone. Now let's take a look at the final figure, Ben Reilly Spider-Man. Okay, so last but definitely not least, we have Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider. And right off the bat, you may notice something different about my figure, and that is the tassel. So mine unfortunately broke off. I do still have it, but it's on one of my shelves. But you can see this one's about to break as well. Dang, that sucks. Cause that's like a cool thing about the figure. The white, like it really pops with the eyes as well. But mine's about to rip. Kind of want to just rip. Yeah, that sucks. So, honestly, I wish they did that better. I kind of wish that they just sculpted the hood onto the jacket and sculpted these, like, on the figure, on the jacket as well, so that they wouldn't come off. But, they didn't end up doing that, so that sucks. But, now let's take a proper look at the figure. Now that I got that out of the way, let's go look at the head sculpt. So, the head sculpt is a new sculpt. I really do like the eyes here. You could tell that it's it just pops the white of the eyes. I do have a little red splotch paint there. But they are a different shape. They remind me kind of like Venom's eyes from one of the comic runs. I can't really remember the name of it, but they remind me of Venom eyes. But it's Spider-Man, so I think that looks pretty good. And then the torso, so the hoodie is an all-new sculpt, and I really do like this hoodie sculpt, though. You could tell that it's an all-new sculpt, and then it has the, like the rips of, like, where the hoodie would meet the sleeves. He ripped those off, and then also you could tell that it's kind of like a croc top, and then it's ripped at the bottom as well, and I think that looks really nice. And then for the spider logos, they are just painted on. He's got a lot of wrinkles on the back, and then the hoodie part is actually sculpted. So, okay, it's glued to the back, but it's not glued at the front. And honestly, I wish they glued it at the front, because I feel like this is going to break one day, and that's going to make me mad. But, I wish they glued that to the front. And I wish they glued this to the front as well, because now this is it's going to break, and that sucks. But, yeah, that does suck. So that does kind of bum me out about this figure. But, so, the body mold that this figure is using, it's using the Renew Your Vows body sculpt. So it does have all that great articulation. So the arms are reused from the Renew Your Vows body mold, Spider-Man body mold. He does have new wrist gauntlets, though, as far as I can tell. I don't have any other Ben Reilly Spider-Mans. So it might be reused from, like, the other retro-carded Ben Reilly Spider-Man. I'm not sure. And then, I do know this belt is new, though. So he does have this new belt. You can see all the web cartridges on his belt. That looks really cool. So yeah. But I do like the out web shooters. I think that's cool. And then, he does have the red button there in the middle. So yeah, that is a nice sculpt. And then the legs are reused again from Renew Your Vows. And then he does have new ankle pouches, though. As far as I remember, these are new for the figure, and I think these look great. They did paint the silver dot and the silver buckles there on the end of the figure, so that looks nice on both sides. So yeah, that is cool. That is pretty much it in terms of the new stuff for the figure. I think this is a pretty cool figure, but now let's get into articulation, and this articulation is actually really good. So starting off at the head, you have a dumbbell joint, which, yeah, it's that kind of joint where it looks like his head is floating. That's not the greatest in terms of look, but he does get, like, some fairly good range, though, but it does not look good, so that sucks. He does look down pretty good. Still that gap in the back. That doesn't really bother me, though, and he does look pivot that way and pivot that way. And then he does have all the way around. But honestly, the gap in the neck, it kind of pisses me off, but not all that much. So I don't really care. I guess it would piss off, like, some photographers, like Xman87 or The Amazing. Follow those YouTubers. They're great. But moving on into the torso, he does actually have butterfly joints in there. And they don't get the greatest range just because the hoodie is plastic. It's not like soft goods like the Mayfex figure. But it does get a good enough range. Well, actually, it's not that great, if I'm being honest with myself. But, that kind of sucks. But I don't think there was much they could have done. They could have cut more into the actual hoodie. But I think that would have ruin the aesthetics of the figure. Like, it's always articulation over aesthetics, and honestly, I think I prefer aesthetics most of the time. But moving on to the torso, he does have the upper diaphragm joint, so that's where he gets his swivel from, and that goes all the way around. And then he does have the diaphragm joint does get that far down and then that far back. And then he has the lower ab crunch, so altogether, he gets some really good range. And then using the legs as well, that's really good range. So, peekaboo. But, yeah, he gets some really good range there, and I think that is pretty good. And then, moving on to the arms, this is pretty much the standard renew your vows body mold to get up that far. Bicep swivel, pinless, double jointed elbows, hand swivel. He does have the drop down hips, so that is nice. You can see does drop down a little bit, so that gets a little bit more articulation. And then he does have the thigh swivel, double jointed, pinless knees, and then he does have the boot swivel or calf swivel, and then the elbows, not elbows, those are ankles, that far up, that far down, and then he does have the twist, and then try to get it to focus. Toe joints. So yeah, that is the articulation for this figure. You can get him into a number of Spider-Man poses, and he looks great doing them. And then, if I could just bend the ankle here. There we go. Jesus, why isn't that? Please don't break. There we go. But, yeah, so you can get him into a number. God. This episode is just filled with falling. But you can get him into a number of great Spider-Man poses that look good. And then in terms of accessories, he comes with 2 fisted hands. So 2 fisted hands. I think these are the right hands. I have like this whole bin with my hands, but I think this is the right hands. Yeah, they look the same to me. Yeah, and they match the other hand colors. So yeah, those 2 fisted hands, they look good. They're just normal fisted hands. And then he comes with 2 web flippers, which is great, and then 2 wall crawling hands, which is amazing. So he got the full set of all the hands, which is great for a Spider-Man. Spider-Man needs all those hands. So yeah, that is all the accessories for Ben Reilly. No extra head, which would have been nice. But other than that, only problems I really have is I wish they glued the front of the hoodie there, or just sculpted it on the hoodie. And then also I wish they sculpted the little tasses, I don't know what to call them, but these little drawstrings for the hoodie, I wish that they sculpt that actually on the thing, because my other one is about to break now. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but I guess I have been playing around with this figure, but it's about to break, which that does suck. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, the full wave review of the new Spider-Man retro carded wave. I do know this wave isn't that new, and it's not completely full. I'm missing 1 figure, but I don't need that figure, and nor do I really want that figure. So yeah, guys, that is the end of this review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked it. So make sure to like the video, so that really helps out the channel and shows YouTube that you want to watch this, and they'll put it into the algorithm. But yeah, guys, that's the full wave review. Let me know what you guys think of this wave in the comments below. I really like it. I'd say my favorite has to be Ben Reilly. Then it would probably be it's a tie between Jack-o'-lantern and Tombstone. And then after that, these 2 are tied as well. But I might like this one better. I might like this one better. I think I do like Tombstone more than Jack-o'-lantern, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that is my ranking for the figures. This one is great, 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 good, good. So yeah, guys, that's going to do for the video. But yeah, that's going to do for today's video, guys. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the drum roll. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.